Welcome to ClickAI Radio, where you'll learn the secrets to transforming your small to medium business. Grant has been helping businesses transform using technology for over 30 years. Advanced technologies like artificial intelligence have been available only to large companies and advanced technical teams. Grant will discuss how you can use to leverage AI and other technologies to grow your small to medium business. As a gift, Grant is offering his ebook, AI for Sales Growth, at clickairadio.com. Now, here's your host and biz tech geek, Grant Larson.
Hey, this is Grant. Thanks for joining another episode of ClickAI Radio. So I've been thinking about, could there be some lessons learned from AI's use during COVID-19? And could those lessons be applied to help our business? So to do that, I wanted to first start at what are some things that AI is doing to help combat COVID-19. I saw a report not long ago from the World Economic Forum. They were talking about some ways in which they've seen it applied, and it's areas that, of course, if you're watching the news at all, you're fully aware of. Obviously, AI is being used in the healthcare industry. Certainly with research labs and hospitals, they're using AI and machine learning, which is a component of AI, in multiple ways. One of those ways that's interesting is in the use of chatbots, and sometimes we love to hate those things, right? Because we really just want to talk to a human, but the AI is informing these chatbots, and in one particular group, it's a startup company out of France. They're called Clevy, C-L-E-V-Y. So Clevy.io is the website. They're a French startup company, and they're based on the Amazon AI platform. Anyway, they launched a chatbot to make it easier for people to find official government communications about COVID-19. It's already handled over 3 million messages, so that's pretty amazing, actually. When you think about the load that took off of humans, right, in terms of having to manually do that. Or the real question is, and what I don't know is, how effective was that communication, right? Did the AI really help? When you think about with your own business, think, okay, could I leverage a similar approach, right? Could I apply AI for my chatbot support? All right, so that's one area. The other area, of course, that we see AI being involved with is in the evaluation of the tons of data, right? The healthcare providers and the research they're faced with this exponentially increased volume of information about COVID-19. And the reality is AI thrives in that sort of environment where there's lots of data. It's difficult for us humans to derive insights from something like that. And so as a result, Amazon launched this search. It's actually really cool. It's called the COVID-19 Search, CORD-19 Search. It's this website that's powered by machine learning that helps researchers to quickly and easily search for research papers and documents and answer questions like, when is the salivary viral load highest for COVID-19? I don't even know what that means, but these researchers do. I think it's awesome that they can leverage AI and machine learning to do something like that. So you think, hey, we ought to have something like that for small to medium business owners, right? We ought to have a place where you could go and be able to ask a lot of questions about running your business. And what it's doing is it's leveraging a bunch of documents, best practices of business, right? That would allow you, remember that I said that, okay? All right, so let's look at another way that AI is helping out during COVID. This has something more to do from a business process, a value chain issue, right? It's really to help avoid the disruption in the food supply chain. Some food processors and governments obviously need to understand the current state of agriculture, right? And what's happening in the food chain. Lots of organizations and people are involved in solving that problem. So there's this agri-tech startup company called Mantle Labs. They're also an Amazon customer. So what they're doing is they're offering this AI-driven crop monitoring solution. But what's cool about it is that they're offering it to retailers free of charge free of charge for a period of time during COVID. That's obviously to take some of the pain, the financial pain off, but also to deliver the capabilities in there as well. It's amazing how this technology works. It assesses the satellite images of crops to flag potential issues to farmers and retailers early on, so you can get notification early on about any impacts to the supply chain. I was talking to a supply chain group, this was probably 2 months ago now, and they were talking about how when the COVID stuff first hit, they provide supplies to some of the major restaurants that have global reach. They ended up shifting the use of their supply chain to help manage and store extra supplies like toilet paper and things like that, right? Which is amazing, right? And so, yeah, AI and ML is helping both in the healthcare and research labs. It's helping in supply chain, obviously, and in other areas also. So the question is, hey, can we learn some lessons from this? Well, all right, let's look at another example here. The MIT Technology Review shared an experience that they saw, that they took note of. They said, hey, in the first 10 days when the pandemic hit, the Amazon top search hits dramatically changed, right? It started to, of course, include things that people started buying in bulk that normally we'd not been buying in bulk. So things like toilet paper, sanitizer, masks, and so forth, right? And so the interesting part about this is where the AI models are in place and are trying to optimize, how can I make sure I get the right kinds of goods to people? People are typically searching for phone case chargers and things like that. Those are like in the top range. Suddenly all that within a matter of days gets just turned upside down, and now, hey, people are looking for toilet paper and sanitizer and masks. And so the AI models actually had not been prepared for that. It had an effect on the AI models in place. Now, this is really an important lesson because the AI models had to be updated to reflect the change in behavior. Now, this isn't surprising to me, right? This is actually the way in which we should deal with our AI models. Gartner, who's a leading research and technology research firm, advisory firm, they shared a report. This is some time ago, 4 or 5 months ago, where they said, look, there's many teams that are implementing AI, but not many that implement a monitoring solution. In this report, they had this maturity model, and it talked about, hey, you're this mature as a company if you use an AI this way, whereas you have higher maturity if you're a company that way. And the net of it was that if you're doing some monitoring and then making adjustments to your AI, you actually are in a better position to pivot your company, right? So that starts to become a critical aspect to creating what we call an evergreen profit for your business. See, the reality is machine learning models are intended to support some level of flexibility, of course, but they need to be revisited and reshaped over time. When it deviates too far from what the model knows to be quote unquote normal, right? Then of course it needs to be modified. So here's the key thing, right? One of the best things you can do is you can incorporate frequent refinement to your AI models, whether your AI models are telling you how your customers are buying your products or how you're providing service to them or what the refund levels are. All of that changes over time because of things that are outside of their control, in this case, a recent pandemic, but it could be other things. It could be competitive pressure, can be a shock to their own supply chain or your own supply chain, whatever it is. The key is to connect your business information to your AI models. All right, that starts to become the key. And then to implement a monitoring process. The monitoring process keeps an eye on, hey, how are these AI predictions going? And is the new data we're getting and the way that our customers are working with us, is that changing our AI models and predictions? So you got to be prepared to adjust the AI models so you're getting the best insights and the predictions. Okay, so in summary, what are the 2 lessons we can learn from AI's use during COVID-19? There's 2 here. First one is Look, with fewer resources at your disposal as a small to medium business owner, you want to leverage AI to give you the business insights and the predictions that you need to help you use your resources even better. That's lesson number one, right? COVID-19 has definitely reinforced the need for that. Lesson number two, set up the continual monitoring and modification to your AI models, right? Because you don't know when toilet paper and sanitizer, metaphorically, are going to jump in priority, and then you need to be able to pivot quickly as a business, right? Those unforeseen things, you want to have the AI be apprised of this. And so put in place regular, like monthly, every other month, monitoring of what's changing in your data, and therefore what should your AI models be giving you additional insights and guidance on. Okay, that's it for now. Those are the two key takeaways. Thank you for joining. Until next time, be safe.
Thank you for joining Grant on ClickAI Radio. Don't forget to subscribe and leave feedback. And remember to download your free ebook. Visit clickairadio.com now.